Hi, friends. Before you start this Google slide assignment, you need to make sure that you first listen to the story that goes along with this, which I'm going to be reading to you now. We are going to be learning about when is it good to think something versus when is it good to say something out loud. Now, again, we are talking about sometimes having what we call a filter. And when you think of a filter, it could be a website filter. So, Mr. Irwin makes sure to filter out some websites that are not very school appropriate. You could talk about a filter, sometimes like a strainer that you use at home when you are cooking pasta, and you make sure that you strain the water out, but you keep the pasta in. So, either one of those are a really great way to talk about what you should keep in versus what should maybe come out. So, in my mind, I have lots of different thoughts. I might think about how much I like a new toy or activity. I might think about how much I like my friends or family. And a lot of times, these are called positive thoughts. So sometimes when I'm with my friends and we're having a really great time or they're really helping me, I might say to myself in my head, my friends are so awesome. I might even say it aloud and say, wow, guys, you are all so awesome. And my friends might think, well, that was a nice thing to say. She is so nice. I feel good because she said that. Others around me like it when I say these positive thoughts out loud. This makes others feel good. Others will also have positive thoughts about me. Sometimes I might think about how much I don't like a game or activity. I might think about how I don't like someone or what they are doing. So I may think that somebody like one of these students is kind of boring. Maybe they're not being very helpful. Maybe they're not being very talkative with me and they're not talking about what I want to talk about. But these types of thoughts are called negative thoughts. They're the kind of thoughts that can hurt someone else's feelings or distract someone. It is okay to have negative thoughts. However, I must try my best to keep those thoughts to myself inside my head and not say them out loud. Others around me don't like it when I say these thoughts out loud, as it may hurt their feelings and make them feel bad. So if I were to say this out loud, Sherry, you are boring, Sharon may then think, that was rude. He is mean, and I feel sad. I don't want to be his friend. Now, she may think this. She may even say this out loud to you if you've really hurt her feelings that much. If I say these thoughts out loud, others will also have negative thoughts about me. So, as you saw, not only does she feel that he's rude, he feels that he's mean. Now she feels sad because of how mean he was and his hurtful words, and now she doesn't want to be his friend anymore. Keeping negative thoughts in my head and saying positive thoughts out loud is called using a filter. So, just like I told you here, you filter out the bad and you keep in the good, or keep, you keep the bad in and you let the good stuff out. So, if I have a thought I need to think, these are the steps to go through. First, ask yourself, is this a positive or negative thought? Step 2, to say to yourself, will it hurt someone's feelings if I said it out loud? Step 3, in your head, if it will hurt someone's feelings, I must keep it to myself and say something nice or appropriate instead. And step 4, in my head, if it will not hurt someone's feelings or make them have weird thoughts, then I can say it. Now, I want to break these last two down for a moment. See, sometimes you don't have to always say something nice. You could try and say something appropriate instead. Instead of saying that Sherry is boring to her face, you could have said, "Hey, Sherry, can we talk about something a little bit more interesting?" Or maybe you could have tried to get to know her better and asked her a question about herself to see if you guys have something in common. Again, you don't always have to say something positive, but you should try to be appropriate with what you say. The other thing that I want to talk about is this one. If it will not hurt someone's feelings or make them have weird thoughts, then I can say it. Remember that when we say some things, I know that we sometimes want to get the attention of others, but saying some things that make be kind of inappropriate, such as saying things like, "Oh, I just picked a booger and ate it." Well, that's kind of inappropriate. You want to make sure that whatever comes out of your mouth is something that's not going to be so distracting. So, it is very important that as you go through these examples, you really want to think about, is it positive and is it appropriate? So, we're not just asking for things that are positive, we want to make sure that it's appropriate as well. Let's say, for instance, you're working at home and maybe your sister is running around and being silly. It's probably not a good idea to let us all know what she's doing when we're in the middle of a lesson. It's not an appropriate time, and it's going to distract everybody while we're in the middle of a lesson. And you're going to say it out loud while I'm talking, so it'll be harder to hear me. So, friends and other people like it when I say positive words. They like it when I'm appropriate. They like it when I'm kind to them and respectful to them. I will do my best to keep negative thoughts in my head. I will remember to use a filter. So remember, when we talk about being positive and respectful, a lot of times this idea of using your social filter is extremely important. Sometimes when you're in the middle of class, you kind of want to say things to each other in the chat box, like, "Hey, you good?" Or you may say, "Oh my gosh, please stop." But let me sometimes worry about that too. I am the teacher. We also have Mrs. Auger, Mrs. Sini, Mrs. Bartolomeo, Mrs. Rieger. So we can also try our best to help if someone is either not being very positive with their words or if they're being inappropriate with their words. It's okay to sometimes say, "Hey, we can talk about that later," or "Hey, focus on Mrs. Sheldon." That is an appropriate way to help students get back on track. So, now that you have watched this video, you are going to go here and you are going to complete each of these assignments. Remember that the goal is that you want to tell me whether the statement that you read is something that you should place in the thought bubble for only think it, or if it is something that you can say, which would be in the speech bubble. Remember, if you're going to say it, it should either be positive or appropriate. So let's go to this slide. "I'm sorry you feel sick." I would say this is a rather positive speech. A positive thought that you can say out loud. You are showing empathy and care to somebody who's not feeling well. And the second one, "I picked a booger last night." This certainly is something that is pretty inappropriate to blurt out loud, especially if we are in the middle of a lesson and I'm trying to talk and you talk over me. So this should be in the think it section in the thought bubble. I hope these directions help you. Make sure that you complete this, and when you are done, make sure that you put it in your assignment tracker as a check mark for today. Good luck, everyone. See you soon.